Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back, finally, to Hogwarts Legacy. It's been a while. It's been, 3 weeks. We missed 2 Wednesdays in a row, so here we are. Gosh, excuse me. Actually, speaking of, I just remembered I need to open something up here.
Please see me after class once you have completed
okay.
the tasks I've set for you. I would like to teach you Descendo, useful for pulling objects to the ground.
Oh gosh, excuse me. I will say that not actually that useful. Funny enough. Where is it? Oop. Hold on. Go. Oh, come on, really? There. Alright, I gotta get my infinite broom boost going. Anyway, so, now we're good. Okay, cool. Oh, gosh, excuse me again. Alright, so, anyway. Welcome back. It's been some time, and we're back. I'm glad to be back. Let's see what all we have to do, because there's a lot to be done. Oops, wrong thing again. Beasts class. I am tempted to just do this right away, because I really want to start doing the whole beast catching thing. We'll definitely do this tonight. We might do this one tonight, because this opens up a whole other big collection quest. And we'll wait on this one. We'll wait on the Helm of Urtkot. That's the goblin one. Professor Onai's assignment. Descendo is kind of dumb. I mean, we'll do it, but... Or Descendo, not Depulso. Depulso's okay. Descendo is not a great spell, really. It might be the worst of the combat spells, in my view. But we can go purchase a broom upgrade. So let's go do that. Where are we? We're in the common room. Let's just walk. Let's go. We're not in the common room. We're in the dormitory. All right. Let's go. Oops, wrong way. Anyway, it has been busy with the semester starting up again. I've got a lot going on. Now, a lot of that means that I've been doing other things, both related to the channel and just work and school and all that kind of fun stuff that life involves.
Your field guide. Another house token for the house chest.
I have a few more of these. I don't have all of them, but I have several. Whoop, that's it. All right, let's head to the broom shop, shall we? So, I have been getting the semester started. If you've been following along, I have been posting I've posted one new video, which is the one on arguments. That was from a couple weeks ago now. That was on the logic critical thinking section of the course that I basically start every class off with. So if you've seen the videos I already have of the logic and critical thinking stuff, it's at the beginning of all of my sort of course playlists. If you've seen them, there you go. That is how I start off every class, because I do absolutely think, and this is beyond just,
Does it get any
it's
more
more or less
cozy than
recommended.
Hogsmeade?
It's somewhere in between recommended and required by almost every department I teach at. I teach with, I guess I should say. Um, but beyond that, I do think that it's absolutely essential to learn some basic logical tools before we start talking complex philosophy. And so we always begin every semester with basic intro to logic, and that even applies to students I've had before. I've got a couple of returning students this semester who've taken my philosophy of religion class a couple years ago, now a year or two ago, depending, and now are here for my
Welcome
ethics
back.
class. So
I've arranged a special price on the broom upgrade for you.
awesome.
I truly appreciate all of your help.
So yeah, my first couple of weeks,
You'll be thrilled
week
with
and a
that
half, I
broom,
guess,
I promise you.
are not so new for a lot of people, but for not a lot of people, for a couple of people. And honestly, for anybody who's taken a logic class or anything like that, most of it isn't too new. But honestly, that's okay. It's always good to review, and you will certainly get a new perspective on the matter. And a lot of times, that's even more essential. Getting a new, well put together and cohesive view of logic, especially when I point out things like that fact opinion distinction, which I'm editing that half gradually, slowly in the process of editing that half of that lecture.
That
How's this
item
look?
is of the highest quality.
With the lantern. Nah, I like what I got. I'm good. All right.
Thanks for stopping by. I must tell you, half of Hogsmeade's been by the shop asking about rumours of a broom upgrade. Without the information you provided, my work would have taken twice as long. Thank you again. It may sound ambitious, but I've already begun work on another upgrade, more difficult to perfect than the last. I wondered, would you be interested in joining forces again? There's another course near Arendelle that Miss Reyes has mastered. If you were to test this first upgrade there, it may help me as I develop the next. Oh, you'll consider it, won't you?
Yeah. Where's
Sounds as if
Irondale?
You're really outdoing yourself. If I'm able to help, I will.
Thank you. I know this recent success was only the beginning of what I can do for broom flight. Report back as soon as you can.
How do I get
We'll be
that?
off to the races.
How do I get? Man, that one's very simple, but I kind of like it. It's very simple and simplistic, but still. Oh, hey.
Revelio.
What? How did I miss this? Wow. Okay. But I like this gold one with the bell. Glorious. Looks very nice. All right. Anyway, yeah. Let's go and do that, shall we?
Off to the races then.
Off to the races. I assume I can actually get all the way down there, Irondale. And that's not like on the opposite side of, an impassable obstacle or whatever. Hey, it's not. It's just really, really far. Let's fly so we can open up a couple of these flue powder destinations. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's still weird. It's being all. Oh god, textures are loading all flumpy. Only like a mile, which it's fine. It's a little over a mile, I guess. Wait, what was that? Did I just see that there was a quest that I missed? Here. Yep, there is. Look at that. There's a quest.
Why
Hey.
did I never learn how to swim?
Oh. Right.
Going for a swim?
Goodness, no. Though I'm beginning to think I really should learn how to swim. Can't very well be liaison to the mer people if I don't know how to swim.
You're a liaison to the mer people.
Well, not technically, no. At least not yet. The position doesn't actually exist at the moment, but I have a plan to change that. I'm Nerida, by the way. Nerida Roberts. We didn't officially meet, but we dueled in a Crossed Swans Club.
Yes, of course. Good to see you again.
And you.
You seem quite interested in merpeople.
I am. And they're as misunderstood and disregarded by wizard kind as goblins and centaurs are. I feel that if goblins and centaurs have liaison officers at the ministry, then the merpeople should have one too.
This is actually pretty neat because, if I remember correctly, by the late 20th century, when Harry Potter takes place, there is a merpeople liaison office at the ministry, which is neat. This is a cool one of those like backstory development things that they just kind of write it in so that there's this is when that began to develop, that kind of thing. It's neat. Anyway,
I'm impressed. I think reaching out to the merpeople is a grand idea.
benefit of being able to write
do?
prequels.
Oh, thank you. Of course, I haven't exactly done anything just yet. I presented them with a gift a few weeks ago, and they wanted to leave me one as well, in one of their caves. Reciprocity and an offer to visit. I tried telling them I couldn't swim, but I'm afraid that bit got lost in translation. Mermish really is tricky.
Okay.
How has wizard kind fallen short in its treatment of merpeople?
Well, we've consistently deigned merpeople as being beneath us despite the many similarities between our cultures. One can hardly blame them for declining being status by the ministry years ago. Who are we to classify those of such beauty and intelligence?
It's odd that there's a group of creatures that can, quote, deny being status. So that's the what would be called what would we call the different what we would technically philosophically call the distinction between sapient and non-sapient. The wizarding world refers to as being and beast. So that beings are humans, both witches and wizards. Centaurs? I think centaurs count. I think giants count. And I think I know goblins, elves. Anybody else? I'm trying to think if there are any other magical beings. I think it's at least those. But merpeople at this stage apparently don't count because they declined being status, which is weird. That there can be someone. First of all, that there's a kind of a representative for all merpeople who can deny that they are as a species sapient. But then also the fact that they can deny that they are sapient as a species means that they are sapient as a species, because if they're capable of understanding the concept such to deny it, then they are. Right? So that's wacky. It's very wacky.
What is it about the merpeople that interests you so much?
I can't begin to tell you how brilliant they are. I mean, rumor is that tales about them have infiltrated even the Muggle world.
Tales.
The oldest known merpeople, sirens, come from Greece. And of course, Scotland has Selkies, and Ireland is home to Merrows. I could go on for ages about them. Their glorious underwater communities, domestication of sea life, their art and music. It's a travesty how little is understood about them.
Okay, so No Thanks asks what counts as sapient. It's complicated. It's complicated and debated somewhat, but it's what delineates a person as a person, in short. And I would say, okay, so wisdom. Okay, so if by wisdom we mean wisdom in first of all, Sophia in the Greek term, not phronesis. So wisdom meaning abstraction, meaning the pursuit of abstract knowledge. Yes, I do think that that sapience would require some manner of wisdom in that sense, even if it's not, perfectly and fully developed in any given individual, that sort of thing, right? That isn't to say that. Well, I mean, think about it this way, right? Humans are the sort of scientific name for human beings are Homo sapiens, wise things like us. That's what it means. Wise things of the same sort we are. That's what Homo sapiens means. And so sapience, or something to be sapient, is for it to have the capacity for rational abstraction. Can it think in concepts rather than simple individuals or particulars? It is capable of having a conceptual framework of understanding. That's really where the line is. Now, what that line exactly means, that's the part that's contested. What does it mean for something to have an abstract concept? Well, for example, excuse me, it might be, you'll notice that your dog or your cat, if you move to a different house, they might find it quite difficult to understand concepts such as a door being the same kind of thing, but a different particular thing than the one that they're used to. Right? So if the particular features of something are sufficiently different, then they can't draw the connection like we wise things could do. So again, your dog would have to relearn how to go through the dog flap, right? Because it's a different thing in a different place. It has different particulars, and so it has to relearn how to interact with those particulars. Whereas a sapient creature, a human, even a young human, even a child, is capable of abstracting away from the particular things to having a general concept of door or cat flap or dog flap or right? Whatever the thing might be. So now you ask if it's qualitative experience. Yeah, maybe, but again, I think it depends on what you mean by qualitative experience. If you mean simply qualia, then that's sentience. That is capable of experience, of having sensation, and that's a lower level of being than sapience, right? So if we go to like the three parts of the soul according to Aristotle, you have the vegetative part, which is capable of nutrition and reproduction. That's non-sapient but animate life. It means it's alive, or biological life. So plants, for the most part. Maybe other lower organisms, whatever. Then you have the animate soul, which is in addition to being capable of nutrition and reproduction, the vegetative parts, it's capable of sensation and autolocomotion. It can take in sense data about its environment and then act within that environment. Right? So animals, typically. And then finally we have the rational part of the soul, which is that which is responsible for rational abstraction, self-reflection, community, and language. That's an interesting question. So, yeah, so first of all, no thanks. It's perfectly reasonable and understandable that you're confusing terms, because this is Star Wars' fault. This is entirely Star Wars' fault. I've got a rant in this in a video. In that video I did on Sapience in Star Wars. I'll link it in the description if you haven't seen it. But it's a long one. Forewarning, and it's about that one episode of The Mandalorian with Lizzo and Jack Black, but it has nothing to do with Lizzo and Jack Black. It's about droids and sapience and questions of sapience and self-reflection and stuff like that, and how Star Wars handles it. And I blame Star Wars for the linguistic confusion, because Star Wars officially gets it backwards, and it does so on purpose in universe. Right? So in universe, the term sentient denotes sapience, not what we would philosophically call sentience. And because this was done intentionally, this was an intentional switch, this was an intentional change, and it became like official Star Wars canon, this gets kind of transported into a lot of other science fiction. Now there are some that there's some that do it right, but this sort of gets automatically adopted by a lot of other science fiction, and therefore it trickles into the sort of common culture and the popular understanding. And so we think of sentient as meaning sapient. So, and we don't have a word for sentient. having qualia, I guess. Um, like in Star Wars, they're both. They even seem to have the Force somehow. Oh, AIs, you mean? Oh, well, nah, I think the new canon treats droids in a really weird sort of way. In some cases, first of all, the way the new canon treats droids is wildly inconsistent, but it seems to be when it is being consistent, it is way too generous about droid inner life and sapience, or what they would call sentience. So that brings up the whole slavery problem. Like, if these are just sentient beings that are made, then forced to do work, then aren't they just slaves? Which wasn't a problem for the most part in the old EU. Certainly not in the actual prequel trilogy, like the actual 6 movies. Certainly wasn't a problem there. And most of the time, EU writers are careful not to overly personify droids, to not attribute them things like qualia. Attribute things like qualia to them, sorry. So, but there were slip-ups for that, to be fair. But typically they're pretty careful to have droids be computational machines rather than them being persons in different hardware. Yeah, so now the question of in reality, in the real world, whether AI can have something like qualia, I tend to think not. And I tend to think that depends on what you mean by AI. What we have now, large language models, are obviously not sentient or sapient. They're neither. If you could have something like strong AI, something that is capable of doing the kinds of things that we see in science fiction robots, in droids in Star Wars, in the AIs in Halo, in the Geth or the Reapers in Mass Effect, something like that. I think they probably would be. They might be. I'm open to the possibility of them being sapient but not sentient. They may not have qualia, but they may have concepts, which is bizarre. That is a very strange existence, and I don't know how we would reconcile that with ourselves. So that actually does lead to some interesting sci-fi questions about how we relate to machines, the machines, if you will. Yeah, and no thanks. I tend to agree that that something like Searle's Chinese room problem is intractable. That what's going on inside is not actually experiencing something outside. There is nothing there to experience it. Philosopher Edward Fazer has a great article. There's a great article on the mistake we often make in attributing intelligence, true, proper, sapient intelligence, to AI, or to computers in general. And he basically points out that it's a magic trick. And by magic trick, I don't mean this kind of magic trick. I mean coin disappeared, kind of like sleight of hand kind of magic trick. Like the thing is gone. Like stage magic. Because his point being that because you know how the trick works, you know it's a trick. Because we know how the thing going on in the AI works, we know that it's not a mind. We know that it's computational mechanical or what have you. Yeah, even if it's connected to a camera or microphone, there's nothing it is like to be an AI. Well said. Yeah, like there is something there is something that it's like to be a bat, whatever that is, even if we can't fundamentally comprehend it. Again, to Searle's point. Oh, yeah. Dennett thinks consciousness is a magic trick because he's a self-loathing philosopher. He's one of those philosophers who wishes he were a scientist, but picked the wrong major in undergraduate or something. I don't know. Him, Quine, There's a few of those philosophers who just wish they were scientists, but settle for philosophy because I guess they're not good at math or something. Dennett's one of them. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's
Well,
agree
I
out.
can swim and could help you if you'd like.
You'd
Let's go do it.
do that? Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Always gonna help
The
another
last
fellow
thing I
Slytherin.
want is for them to think I'd shunned their gift. Diplomacy is a delicate dance. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can dive down to their cave from just there in the water.
Okay, let's go.
I can't wait to hear about what you find. One day soon, I'll see for myself. I just know it.
You're gonna have to learn to swim, though. You're really gonna have to learn to swim.
Did the mer people really leave Nerida an artifact?
This is interesting. Oh.
Lumos.
Oh.
Incendio.
Yep. There we go.
Lumos. Now then,
Come
I
here.
need you to come with me.
So Slytherin are
Enough
ambitious,
lessons here.
not bad. Their founder was kind of a racist a-hole. But the house itself is built around the trait of ambition. Drive, if you will. And so they're not evil.
What do we have in here then?
But when Voldemort was bad and was in Slytherin and wound up greatly affecting the
Nerida
house.
will be happy about this.
Cool. Let's go bring it back. Greatly affecting the house, and I think, if I'm remembering right, he maybe even placed a curse on the house. Similarly to, I know that when Voldemort was basically denied the job for Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher by Dumbledore before he went and decided to go evil and be Voldemort. He was already, evil, I guess, but he wasn't
Your gift from the mer people was exactly
Wizard
where they said it
Hitler
would be.
yet.
Oh, that's wonderful news. I was so worried I'd left it too long and they'd seen it as a slight. Our relationship with them is already so tenuous.
But yeah, Voldemort placed a curse on the Defense Against the Dark Arts position at Hogwarts, that no one would ever be able to hold the position for more than a year. And that's why there's always a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher in each of the books. And when he died, at the end of Book 7, the curse was lifted. And so, I forget if they actually make clear who stays in the position, but it is official that the curse was lifted, and that was an actual thing.
And I'm glad we helped to foster some healthy diplomatic relations.
Merlin's beard. It's marvelous. I'm going to show it to everyone, including the ministry. Should I hand deliver it or send by owl? Thank you again.
And by
so
hand if you
much.
can.
You may have just helped improve relations between wizard kind and mer people for decades to come. I
Cool.
can't wait to study this.
Murky Depths. Jeez. Alright, I got a lot of stuff from that. Alright. Let's see. Quests. Let's do that. Let's check our challenges. Ooh, we got a cool green leprechaun hat. I want to try it on. I don't think it's gonna be what we actually go with wearing, but I want to try it. Right, inventory, not inventory. Here. No. 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 Now let's stick with the taller top hat. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. No. No. Let's go with the top hat. Let's stick with the top hat. So yeah, at this point, particularly at this point in history, Slytherin being just kind of the bad guy house is more or less a misunderstanding. I say as I open up the menu for dark arts. You know. Anyway. Okay. Huh.
What are you up to now?
Looting someone's house, I guess. Now, where's that other... Yeah, okay, it's up here. What is this? This is, Brockborough. Yeah, my canon knowledge sucks, but I feel like there were lots of Slytherin who weren't ambitious, should be alphas or whatever. It should be. But also, okay, so it's... I would say it's ambition and also... okay, let me put it this way. It was written from the first book in the books. It was written as the bad guy house. Let me put it that way. I completely passed it. That's weird. What's this? Troll control. Ooh, yeah, I should go do that. Need troll bogies. It was written as the bad guy house, but there needs to be some justification for it existing and not just being the bad guy house.
Not sure how I'd fare in a little place
So
like this.
the specifics of what it is to be a Slytherin and what their sort of characteristic virtue is it's a little bit sketchy, a little bit weird. It's not as well established as well some of the other houses, right? So the other three houses are very straightforward in their sort of characteristic virtue. Gryffindor is courage, which is one of the cardinal virtues. So there we go. Ravenclaw is wisdom or curiosity. Depending on which who you ask, I guess. Which curiosity technically is a vice, so be careful. And Hufflepuff is loyalty, which, to be fair, has its drawbacks, right? It's not just straightforwardly a virtue. Slytherin is supposed to be ambition, but it usually turns out to be something more like selfishness or self-centeredness. So that's the sort of
Is
dark side of
everything all
ambition.
right?
If the
So
Hamlet sent you here to
it
talk
makes
to me
enough sense, I guess.
about
I'll see if I can find
I
it.
know what I have to do. It's not every day a girl has to put down her own troll. I should be allowed to work up to it.
What do you mean your own troll?
I thought that's why you were here. I'm sorry. I suppose if you spend enough time with trolls, you forget your manners. I'm Alexandra. I didn't mean to be short with you. With Ranrock's lot seemingly everywhere, I thought the hamlet could use a bit more security. But my plan has gone awry. I apologised when he almost trampled half the hamlet yesterday. He just needs more time. But everyone wants him gone. They think it's mad, my training a troll. Impossible, even.
It is a bit ludicrous. So there's an essay in... So I've talked before about the pop culture and philosophy series, most notably in relation to Star Wars, the Star Wars one. Well, there's also a Harry Potter one. There's a Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and Philosophy. There might actually be two at this point. And one of the essays in it is about Slytherin and whether you can coherently call ambition a virtue, whether it's the same type of thing as courage, loyalty, and wisdom. And I actually don't remember the thesis. I don't actually remember the position in the essay. But I'll have to look into it. I'll have to find it. I'm gonna put a link to it in the description and probably in the Discord server too somewhere, if I can find a link to it. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I'll reread it and come back and talk about this more next week. Yeah, I'm personally far more Ravenclaw. Curiosity is a vice when it is the... Aquinas talks about this. And I don't remember all of the details. I can't tell you exactly. But it's essentially when curiosity is for the sake of knowing rather than for the sake of the knowledge itself. Right? We pursue knowledge not because we want to know the things we want to know, but because we want to be the one who knows things. It's a species of pride. Right? It's wise guyness. It's wanting to be the one who knows the thing, rather than wanting to know the thing. That's essentially the vice of curiosity. Imagine if they'd let the Sith coexist with the Jedi simply as another path, like they did with Slytherin. I mean, there were times in galactic history when the Sith and the Jedi coexisted as basically as separate states. There were bipolar political and religious moments in Star Wars history. So I mean, thinking to the Old Republic era, both KOTOR, when there was a Sith Empire that was very short lived, but it was there, and then the Old Republic, a few hundred years later, the Great Galactic War and the Cold War, that era, there were two fully functioning states, the Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic, that coexisted. Not very peacefully, but they coexisted, like the US and the USSR coexisted. And that's one of the most interesting sort of time periods, particularly the sort of one of the more interesting political and religious time periods in galactic history in Star Wars. And I think, well, let me say this, that the Disney sequels were way too quick to dispatch with the Empire, because the sort of bipolar, the politically bipolar, not like mentally bipolar, but the bipolar political moment or political disunity in the EU between the New Republic and the Empire coexisting but not peacefully is really interesting. It's a really interesting time period with a lot of interesting things going on. But anyway, I wouldn't quite say a monopoly on knowledge. I would say pride in one's own knowing. Probably the best way of putting it. It's not wanting to know things that other people don't. Not necessarily. But it's wanting to be in the know. Right? Prioritizing oneself rather than the knowledge itself. That's the vice of curiosity. Which, I mean, Ravenclaws are susceptible to, certainly. Also, haughtiness. Yeah, something like that. Guess what season it is? It is already eggnog season. At least according to the grocery store where there's eggnog on the shelf. And I have some in my glass. And I'm drinking some with a nice splash of brandy and a nice dusting of nutmeg, as one ought to enjoy eggnog. So good. If you want to follow along, Southern Comfort Vanilla Spice Eggnog with a splash of brandy, ground nutmeg over the top. Oh, can't beat it. I'll almost certainly get tired of it before Christmas time, but I don't care.
I'm inclined to agree with them.
It's really good.
Trolls are dangerous creatures.
I know. But I had to try. I suppose I understand why everyone's been so concerned.
Yeah, you're raising a
What made
troll.
me think I could train him? I should have learned from Barnabas the Barmy. But
Cape Codders?
he's my troll and my problem. I'll be
Like
honest.
Cape Cod,
I'm
like
afraid
drink
I won't be able to take care
a drink
of him.
of Cape Cod.
He's
I'm
stronger
not
than
familiar.
any troll
The cocktail?
I've ever encountered. I wish I knew someone else who could do it.
I know who Barnabas the Barmy is, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume that Soren here doesn't, so he can ask the question. Cranberry and vodka. Oh, okay. All right. Never been a vodka drinker. It's not my
Who's
favorite.
Barnabas the Barmy.
I get it.
Surely you've seen the tapestry of him at Hogwarts. It hangs in the 7th floor corridor. He allegedly tried to train trolls for the ballet. You can imagine how that turned out.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled at the prospect, but I'll consider it.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to suggest that you should do it. In fact, you should avoid the area just southwest of here. At least until I work up the courage to do what needs to be done.
I should go do it, but I'm also going to go check out whatever this quest is as well. And whatever this...
Troll on the loose near a hamlet. That could be devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's locked.
Revelio.
Aha. Radishes. Enchanted Scarecrow. Watch over the garden and ward off crows. Now simply harasses gardeners by shouting insults at them while they work. Aw, I love it. I want one. Can I get one? Where can I get one of those? A rude Scarecrow.
Accio. Wingardium Leviosa.
I don't know why I did that. But I did. Oh well, whatever. Moving on.
Hello, might you have time to help with an urgent delivery?
Yeah, sure.
You sound as if you could use some help.
Oh yes, I could. Eddie Thistlewood's the name. A dear friend of mine in Feldcroft is at his wit's end due to the relentless attacks on his hamlet by Ranrock and his loyalists. I sent 2 crates of Chinese chomping cabbages to help, but they've gone missing.
Good idea. Those cabbages are nothing to be trifled with.
My thoughts precisely. You see, I know plants, and I believe the goblins will be so irritated by the onslaught of ferocious vegetation, they'll simply leave Feldcroft alone. I wonder if you might track the 2 crates down and deliver their contents to my friend Bernard Indiai. I simply can't leave my shop at present.
Yeah, sure.
Very well, sir. I shall keep an eye out for 2 crates of Chinese chomping cabbages.
Oh, thank you. I shall let Bernard know he might be receiving those cabbages after all.
All right.
I should be going now.
I'm gonna get going because I
Thank
actually am gonna go do the broom race.
I'm convinced that
I'm gonna go do the broom race thing that we were starting off with. Then we'll go do Beast class, and then we'll go do Alohomora class.
will be much safer with Chinese chomping cabbages defending them.
Munch. I do like Chinese
Seems
chomping
like
cabbages.
Feldcroft's
They're
in
a
trouble.
lot of fun.
Perhaps I should try to help.
No, I'm gonna go race. All right. So I was chatting with Xenophon Luke in the Discord server a little bit ago. I don't know if you may have seen this in the arts channel. We're talking about Death of the Author, and he brought this up in relation to AI and sort of finding meaning, or if there is meaning to be found in AI art, and how this tends to, or it might tend to, kind of invert people's normal positions on the matter. And I'm actually not sure of that. That is something that I'm giving more thought. Maybe I can sort of talk my way through, but because I have found that I don't know. Actually, I found that the questions involving AI overloaded. I think we're okay. The questions involving AI art, they don't follow.
Imagine how inconvenient travel was before I
Yeah, sure.
invented flu
They don't
vaccine.
follow ordinary patterns, really. At least not too well.
What is it?
So
What's wrong?
Goblins.
It's hard to say.
That's what. Ranrock's lot. Nasty creatures. Ambushed me, they did. Nothing's safe anymore. I need a little something. Something to protect me if I run into them again. Maxima potion. That would do it.
Do I have some?
I don't have any of that. Perhaps you could try in Hogsmeade or one of the hamlets.
And get extorted by the Ashwinders? No, thank you. If you won't help me, I shall have to take my chances, won't I? How am I to avoid Ranrock's lot?
Maybe I'll come up with a potion later. I don't know. Probably not, though. You're probably doomed. Hey, what are you doing here? And what are you selling?
Hello. Do you have anything for sale?
Hello. It's not often I see Hogwarts students here during the school year. I'm Priya Treadwell at your service, and I sell a variety of traveling necessities.
So, something merely being for aesthetic appreciation doesn't necessarily or directly make it
What do you have
art.
for sale?
That makes it
Let's have a look, shall we?
something for display, maybe. Family antique broom? I don't know. Do I... I'm gonna get one of these so I can go sell
You
it to
won't
what's his
be
name over there.
disappointed, I can promise you that.
You know what, screw it. I'll get it. I'm gonna get it. I'll see if it's good. I'll see if it looks cool.
So nice of you to stop
Um,
by.
Yeah, something like a piece of driftwood placed on display is a decoration, maybe. Would be a good way of putting it, but I don't think it would necessarily be... Hey, who are you and why are you dressed like that? You're dressed like a muggle. Anyway. Or a Deschamps, for that matter. At least, you know, the fountain, or
Off
what
on
have you.
another adventure, are we?
Goblins got you yet? Or did you find some Maxima potion?
No, not yet. Does this mean you've changed your mind?
Yeah, here.
You're right. The world's not safe at the moment. It's best to take precautions. Here, use it wisely.
Oh, I will. You can be sure of that. Ranrock's lot won't take me down.
So art
And I've you to thank. Please, accept this gift in exchange for your help.
Dude, you should just use the Thunder Brew potion. It's way better. So if we take the sort of classical definition of art, it is right reason with respect to or applied to the making of things. What this means is that this is mostly because there is no classical distinction. There's no distinction between art and craft, right? Both are techne, to use the Greek term, right? And so art is the creation of things correctly, right? Applying reason correctly. Now, if we're specifically saying art, we're going for we're relating this specifically to aesthetics. I would probably be most comfortable. Here's my proposed definition of art would be something like something which is created with beauty as an intrinsic end. It doesn't have to be the sole end, but it must be an intrinsic end to creating the thing and why you've created the thing in the way that you have. So it's something that is intentionally beautiful.
Hello, Imelda. So, another trial?
By the way, that does
Of
rule
course
out
it's
a lot of
another trial.
Dadaists
You'd
and
better be
absurdist
taking
stuff.
part.
Sort of Duchamp stuff.
Does this mean you've changed your mind about me?
Well, you're a step up from the good-for-nothings who usually challenge me. While they sit around and hope to be the best, I put in hours of practice. No one sets records by wishing for them, and I need strong competition to stay on top of my game. Are you going to try to beat my flying record or not?
Yeah,
I'm
let's do
ready
it.
to fly.
Finally, a decent challenge.
I'd say that was acceptable.
Jeez. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. I lagged at absolutely the wrong moment. Did I miss? I missed. Did I get it? I don't know. Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go. Okay, I gotta focus here. No more talking about art unless I'm doing this artistically. I don't know, maybe? It's pushing it. Pushing it.
Made it.
Oh! Okay, okay, okay. Bubbles. The bubbles. The bubbles help me go faster for some reason. They're magic, I guess. It's the magic, right? I may have brought a few branches with me.
Brilliant.
I completely missed the bubbles.
Oh!
Okay.
I'm getting the hang of this.
Okay, almost made it. Here we go.
Now that's more like it. Ha! Good. I've got this.
Alright! I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making it for beauty as one of its
You've
intrinsic goals.
improved,
Probably not.
I must admit.
So no, I don't.
That
I guess not.
was a bloody good run. Be careful. Earn a reputation for talent around here, and some people get put out about it.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Yes, well, I am. Anyway, you didn't do abysmally. I can't deny that.
Beat your record, but okay.
You'll not have the same luck on the South Coast course.
You said your reputation for talent put some people out. Like whom?
If you must know, I've had to deal with jealousy from members of our house. When we were first years, Nerida Roberts and I spent loads of time on our brooms, pledged to fly every day. As my skill on a broom grew, rapidly I might add, Nerida suddenly didn't have time for flying practice. I tried to give her pointers, but she didn't have the natural ability I did. Clearly, she was jealous. Poor thing spends all her time now dawdling by the lake, obsessed with merpeople. Won't even learn to swim. I refuse to downplay my talents to coddle someone else's fragile ego. Anyway, I need to ready the next course. Stop by when it's ready, if you can handle it.
We'll see, won't we? Till next time.
I half expected you to back down. Rest on your laurels. See you at the South Coast trial, if you don't lose your nerve.
I'd never.
To race this course again, visit the podium with the leaderboard, where you can start the race and check your time.
Nah, it's alright.
Another successful flight.
Did
Should
alright.
let Mr. Weeks know.
And formal school uniform. That actually looked pretty nice. I'm gonna see, that might be really good. Alright, let me I'm just gonna quick travel, because that's far. Very far. Oh, and yet Irondale. There's a quest to pick up. Here. In Irondale. And there's a fast travel point. Right here in Irondale. So let's do that first before we... Yeah, right here in Irondale. This is it. Before we go back.
Looks intriguing. Revelio.
Jeweled brooch. Where's brooch depicts a magical bird of some sort. What particular magical bird is unclear, but some believe it's meant to represent one of medieval Irish druidess Cloydna's birds who sang the sick to sleep. Well. Oh. Neato. Can't go in there. So if I had meant for it to be beautiful in particular, and it had ended up in precisely the same way, I would say that it was art. Now, the question of whether it was good art is one of whether you successfully make the part of it beautiful that you intend to do beautifully. If you do so, then you've made good art. If not, your art is bad.
What are you up to
But it's still art. It's just done poorly. Just like, you might do. Here's a good example. So if I were doing the race intentionally being with an eye to style over just going fast, if I'd been doing loops and flips and stuff, that would probably be artistic because I'd be doing it to show off, to be beautiful, to do something that's aesthetically pleasing. But I could do so poorly, right? I could, in fact. Me, not Soren. Professor McCoy, Vincent McCoy over here. I could go do a backflip. Right? I could go out in the backyard, get my video camera, record the damn thing, and go do a backflip. Now, whether or not I do so successfully is independent of my attempt to do so. I could go do a backflip. It would be a backflip. It would just not be a, complete one when I land on my head.
Excuse me,
Same thing
madam.
can apply to art.
I thought I heard you say something.
Yes, indeed. Talking to myself again. I find myself to be quite the engaging conversationalist since my husband passed. Madam Althea Twiddle, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Madam Twiddle.
You know, you might be interested in this. You young people love this sort of thing.
Do
my
we now?
husband often ruminated on the mysterious statue just outside our hamlet. Some sort of archaic puzzle involving vases, he would insist. I stumbled upon it today when I had a burst of energy and extended my morning constitutional a bit longer than usual.
Does Soren like puzzles? He does not have the patience for such things.
I'm afraid I don't find puzzles that engaging.
Ah, understood. However, you might feel otherwise when I tell you a bit more about the rumours surrounding
He's
this
more about the
particular
goal
one. My
than
husband
the
Greville
puzzle getting there.
insisted that solving the puzzle would reveal a magical challenge of sorts. The man was intrigued by everything. He was about to try and solve it himself when... Perhaps you could take a look. I'd be rather interested to hear what, if anything, you find.
If I happen to see it, I'll have a look.
Ah, the
yeah.
spirit of youth. I do hope you'll be able to solve the puzzle. If not for me, then in Greville's memory.
Okay. I'll get to it eventually.
I should look into the statue, madam.
I'm going to do this Merlin challenge, and then I'm going to go back to...
Let's see what's up your sleeve this time, Merlin.
Now, where's the rest of them? Ah, down here. There's another one over here. There's got to be, right?
Revelio.
Right? There it is. Okay. Thought there were more up this way.
Careful now. You could...
Revelio.
Broke those ones already. Okay, okay. Thought there were more over here. Policeman fly.
I should investigate.
Investigate what? The hobbit hole of a house here? Ooh. No, that's a Hufflepuff cloak. That's what that is.
Revelio.
Oh, they're up there. I see them. Okay. So part of the conversation we were having is to do with the death of the author view and whether the artist's intention matters, not to whether something is art or not, but what the meaning of a work is. Whether it's artistic meaning, or its aesthetic meaning, or its philosophical, symbolic meaning, whatever. Whatever sort of meaning that we're talking about. Whichever sort of meaning we're talking about is... not going to do that yet. Okay. The question of whether that is entirely up to the author, or whether the author's intention for some work is either the sole deciding factor or even relevant to what the thing means, right? And typically, I think that some form of the death of the author view is probably the more popular view nowadays. That the meaning of a work is at least partially decided by those who view it, by the readers, by the viewers, by the whatever.
I want to hear all the particulars.
Good news, Mr. Weeks. With your upgrade, I was able to set a new record at the Irondale course.
Brilliant! I knew the upgrade had fantastic potential. How did your broom feel?
It rides well. Does get a tad shaky at top speed, and the handle wobbles a bit when I hit a strong gust of wind.
Ah, yes. I see. I think I know how to address that. Thank you. I owe you one.
If it means another upgrade, the pleasure's all mine.
You sound as determined as I am to improve broom flight. It's a joy to have a collaborator like yourself. If I'm right, and I do hope I am, you'll be hearing good news from me soon. Thank you again, truly.
So,
Mr. Weeks and I do make a good team.
so part of what Luke and I were talking about is the idea that so typically the death of the author perspective is that the meaning of a text is primarily determined by the readers, right? The those who receive the text or the artwork or whatever. No, I'm gonna stick with this one. Hero. Works through? Nah. Regal? Maybe. Nah, that's good. I mean, that's numerically better. And that one's better too, but I can't equip it yet, so I'll hold on to both of those. Okay. Okay. So we both, and I think we all should, disagree with that part of the claim. That the meaning of a piece of art is determined by those who receive it. I don't think that's actually true. I think that any work of art, has some objective meaning to it. Now, most of that was the meaning that was deliberately put in there by the artist. And so the artist has some authoritative say as to what a piece of art means. However, that's not exclusive. They don't have the sort of the sole tyrannical say, let's say, in what a piece of art means, and that's because I think we both wind up agreeing on this. So we both think that an artist can be wrong about what they thought their art meant. What's going on there? Is there a ghost date on the lake? Fascinating. And the reason for that is that symbolic meanings and things like that are objective, and that we don't always understand all of the meaning that we put into things. In part because we take in a lot of meaning implicitly, and when we take it in, we're not quite always aware of all of its details and whatnot. And so, it's laggy. All right, hold on, give me a minute. So if we aren't always aware of that sort of thing, that means that sometimes the meaning we put into things is unintentional, but it's still there. Right? My favorite example of this, before I go to Beast class to do this. If you guys can still see me and everything. Pause. Give it a moment to calm down, shall we? Oh, are we okay? Okay. Uh-oh. I may have disconnected. What's going on your end? Looks like it's coming through. It's just not coming through well. Alright. It looks like I'm coming through smoothish. It's just I have to wait for my connection to calm down, because I'm dropping frames like mad still. Am I dropping all the frames? It looks like I'm dropping 30 to 40 FPS per second, which is like dropping half. Okay. I seem to be back. Just making sure that it reconnects properly. Alright. It looks like we're good, yes? Hello? I can... Alright, I seem to be coming through nicely. Alright, cool. Sorry about all that. I'm back. Anyway, as I was saying, that I think my favorite example of a case where an artist can not fully understand the art that they have made, and even they couldn't fully understand the art that they had made because it was almost prophetic in some sense, is Shrek. So Shrek came out at a very interesting time in our country and in our world. And it really spoke to a particular moment. So one time a few years ago, I was talking with a colleague of mine who's an English professor. He's really into sort of cultural history and the cultural impact as well as the cultural influence on works of fiction, especially contemporary fiction. And so we had a conversation about Shrek because I was talking about it in class, and a student brought it up, and I was using it as an example, yada yada. So we were chatting about it. And he started to point out the interesting sort of political symbolism of the sort of post 9/11 world that we see kind of represented, where we have this kind of anxiety about the outside coming to us and coming in and destroying our orderly way of life, represented by Farquaad and Duloc. And we even have this big edifice of a tower that is the Castle of Duloc. We even have the flying dragon that comes in and breathes fire into the castle at the end and eats Farquaad. Right? It's almost a little too on the nose as far as symbolism and sort of 9/11 imagery goes. And so even sort of more broadly, it's fundamentally about what happens when the sort of symbolic center pushes the periphery too far out, and it tries to not just keep the periphery at the periphery, keep the marginal, but to eliminate the marginal. Then the margin will strike back at the center. And again, we see this as a kind of maybe a representation of something like blowback, of this idea that when we, the sort of global hegemon, try desperately to clamp down on all of the disorders that are out there in the other corners of the world, the places that we think of as sort of the fringes, the swamp, so to speak, the sandy swamp, if you will, that eventually doing so will prompt a kind of backlash, because naturally it has to. It can destroy and consume the center. All right. All this makes wonderful sense. We agreed. This is really deeply symbolic, what's going on here. And then I pointed out to him that Shrek came out about 4 months before 9/11. And it blew his frickin' mind, because he had no idea, first of all, that was the case. And then further, not just that did he not realize that, but he had no idea how it was possible that all of that symbolism fit right. Because now, a lesser mind, not maybe him, I don't know how he wound up reconciling this, but because I had to get to class, funny enough, a lesser mind might say, oh, well, maybe we were just reading all that symbolism into it. Maybe we were just seeing too much, seeing stuff that wasn't there. Maybe all of this symbolic interpretation that we were doing is just our projection into it. It's not actually symbolism that's present. It's maybe this is even a way of maybe this is even something that is a real problem with symbolic interpretation like this. But no. The smart person will say, no, all that symbolism really was there. It was really there. Shrek really did have things to say about the post 9/11 world, even though it came out and was made before 9/11, because it was made in the world that still was developing into and led into the sort of post 9/11 world. I mean, well, there you go. And I assume you're a little older than me, because in the 90s I was in like elementary and middle school. So we didn't do a ton of elementary school even, really. So we didn't do a ton of talking about geopolitics. But No Thanks points out we knew globalism would do that in the 90s. And when I was in high school, we talked about it in classes. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, let me put it this way. Ron Paul's Giuliani moment in 2008, or 7, I guess it was, did not come out of nowhere. He had been talking about that kind of thing for 20 years at that point, since the Reagan administration. So, yeah. Yeah, a little older than me. So, yeah. So No Thanks asks, what does your professor friend think about predictive programming? I'm not sure. I haven't actually, because I've been teaching it at USF, where I know the guy from, for the last year or so. So I haven't chatted with him about this stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not actually familiar with what you mean predictive programming. Is it something like this sort of thing where an idea is sort of, or well, is it like where an idea is sort of innate in something that then just sort of gets exposed, or is this about programming a sort of simulation of something as a way of predicting? And I think both of those can work, because again, I think that the world is to some degree predictable, not perfectly, obviously, but that these symbolic trends, these big picture trends within the world, are trends. They are actual trends. They're world historical trends that follow reasonable patterns, let's say. Okay, let's see. Let's sit outside the classroom and wait for a little while. Cinethank says, telling people what will happen in order to prime them for it. They'll accept it when implemented. I don't know if that applies to that example. I mean, it could be the fact. It could be that I was doing a sort of anti-version of that. Maybe I was even doing that by leading him on with kind of agreeing with all of his thoughts and ideas about this, post 9/11 symbolism in Shrek. I was leading him into the idea that our symbolic patterns are meaningful intrinsically and objectively, something like that. Like the movie Contagion was highly predictive of Corona. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just another technique of propagandizing for a particular desired social end. I mean, it's like how for roughly a decade before Obergefell v. Hodges, there was a gradual, careful but large push for normalizing not just gay people in media, but the idea of gay marriage in media. That sort of softened the purely judicial blow of the judicial legalization of gay marriage nationwide. That was the thing that did not happen democratically, but would today, because again, it's sort of it's seeped its way into the culture. Something like that. Ooh, okay. I think we're good. Jesus. Are we okay? Okay. Okay, so I have to put this in my spell set. I'm gonna put it in my non-combat one. I think I'm back. Oh god, I'm not back. Alright, am I back? How we doing? Hello? Are we okay? Looks like we're dropping tons of frames, so hold on a second. Okay, how's this? I've reconnected. So it would seem. Are we back? Are we back? It looks like we're back. Okay. I think we're okay, right? We're okay? Hi everyone. I apologize. That was weird. I'm guessing that was primarily the cutscene that just absolutely just obliterated our stream for some reason. That was annoying. Anyway, we're back. No thanks says I was in high school and they got me on gay marriage. Now I think it's simply not marriage; it's a misnomer. I think that's about right. Yeah. What do you mean they got you on gay marriage in high school? Like they got you to go with it or to agree with it or convinced you that it's a thing or basically through that kind of process, or what do you mean exactly? I did not. Why am I not getting sound? Now I'm not getting sound. I'm not getting sound. I may have to call it here. I'm feeding the cute little creature, but it's not making cute little noises at me. Hang on. Let's test this. I can hear it. No, I'm just hearing artifacting in my mind. I see. Okay, so my computer audio is just not working now. Damn it. Ah. Windows Sonic Red. What does that even mean? Ah! Ah, we're back. Okay, I just had to switch audio sources. Okay, we're good. Okay. I think we're fine. So, my headphones are peaking. And now I'm not getting audio again. Ah. Now that's coming through. And that's not. Now I'm not getting audio. All right, well. That's where I hear it. I'm just going crazy. Yeah, no, we're back. The stream is working. The problem is my audio is goofing. Okay. I think I'm fine.
I think we can safely say that Gerald likes you.
That's good news. He seems very nice.
He is. Kindness is one of his best
You hear that?
qualities, right after ambition and cleanliness.
Okay. I think I'm okay for right now.
Good work, everyone.
We'll see.
Now, let's make our way to the pens and select another beast. And please, do be careful
I
as
think
you
we're okay.
feed and groom them. Miss Sweeting, why don't you show our new student to the Neasels
Okay,
in the
so
farthest pen?
no thanks to your point.
This way. The
I
needles are over
think
here.
that you are probably largely correct, right? That it's not marriage; it's just a misnomer. It is a particular kind of relationship that we're likely to call marriage for legal reasons.
Enough to buy something from Honeydukes.
It's a bad idea. Why would you do
Stupid
that?
Thing.
What in Merlin's name are you doing?
Ugh, tuss, peculiar Poppy. Worried about a worthless little rodent.
Her name is Persephone.
Her name is Persephone.
That's really not funny.
Doing it again.
Let's go.
I'm just going to, I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to call it after this little sequence here. Because my audio is just not working.
Those two don't belong anywhere near this class. Poachers in training.
Maybe it is? No. Yeah, I'm sorry. My audio is peaking and just going insane. So I'll continue this brief discussion for a moment before I will call it a night here, and we'll pick up here next time. So no thanks says, back in the day, I remember all they wanted was the word, and all the religious people wanted was not give them the word. I was a hardcore atheist at that age. Okay, and I mean that makes sense, right? I mean that makes sense as an atheistic position. That, oh, well, why don't we just call it marriage? Well, again, I don't think it's strictly speaking a religious issue. It is about the meaning, if there is an objective meaning, and I think there is. It is about the meaning of the particular sort of relationship that marriage is. Right, marriage is a particular kind of relationship that is a lifelong, so permanent union between a man and a woman. For the good of the spouses and the procreation and raising of children. It is ordered towards the formation of a family. And of course, we as a society are very reticent to think of things in terms of their ends, in terms of their teleology, whether religious or not. But I think that's part of why there's so much difficulty around the issue, is because marriage is intrinsically about a sort of teleological end or teleological function. Give me just a second. Got her. Yeah. I'm going to bring Angel in for the last few minutes while I'm just chatting. Here we go. So yeah. I think that it being about the word actually does matter, because it is a particular kind of relationship. You can point to, because that is the nature of marriage, and because that is the nature of the formation of family, and yada yada yada, all that stuff, and all the teleological stuff. That is also a pretty sufficient argument for homosexual, for same-sex sexual relations to be wrong, because it can't be intrinsically part of marriage, because it can't be intrinsically ordered towards the begetting of children, which is the sort of intrinsic purpose to human sexuality. That's what sexuality is about, and what it's for, etc. Yes, Meow. Look at the camera. Say hi to everyone. This is Angel. She's been in videos and stuff before. She doesn't like being on the internet, I guess. Not right now. Anyway, though, yeah, I do think that that's it. It was for the longest time just a debate about whether we call it marriage or not. And I'm still, I don't have any issue with anyone contracting with anyone else for anything. If we want to do what we would call civil unions, if you people want to cede certain rights to one another, whether that's visitation rights, whether that's rights over estates, whatever, doesn't matter. If that's what people want to do, again, I think anyone should be able to contract anything they want with anybody else under whatever circumstances they'd like. So if you want to do a civil union thing, okay, fine. I have no real objection to that. I do now object. No, let me put it this way. I would have no objection to that aside from the whoa, okay, sorry, cat. But yeah, like you said, you already had the rights there under contract. And again, you can make such a contract, say between siblings. If adult siblings want to share their lives in that way, legally speaking, share those legal rights, I see no reason why they shouldn't be able to. But if you call it marriage, then well, it gets to feel special, I guess, because they get to co-opt an age-old term for themselves. Now, also, part of why that's part of why it's a problem, right, is that, yeah, if you do want to, say, share your life in that way with say your sibling, now you can't do that. Even with gay marriage being legalized and it being a sort of legal fiction, if you will, you can't cede those rights in that way to a sibling, because that'd be incestuous. Even though the reasons for not, let me put it this way, and this is it seems like a slippery slope argument, but there are reasons for it not being. It seems like a slippery slope to say this, but the reasons for prohibiting same-sex relations are the same sets of reasons for prohibiting incestuous relations. That, in other words, that a close family member is not a viable candidate for marriage, and that's why you can't do marriage things. Or ought not to, I guess. Not can't, but ought not to do marriage things with them. And again, the same thing would apply, and for mostly the same reasons for a couple of the same sex. So if you get rid of one of those standards, but you want to keep the other one, you have to come up with bizarre reasons for it, and reasons that usually don't make sense. Anyway, it is also, so first of all, it's approaching midnight. I gotta get up in the morning. I get class in the morning. And second of all, I'm having wild technical difficulties. You'll notice my headphones are over there somewhere, and that's because they're currently screaming at me because they're peaking. They're doing all kinds of audio nastiness. So that's unfortunate. I'll see if I can fix it. We'll pick back up next time after this quest. And that'll do. So that said, it might not be next week. The reason for that is I am thinking of, now that I'm in the full swing of things in the semester, and I'm quite busy besides, I'm thinking of cutting back my streams to one a week. That'll be certainly the case after I'm done with Fallen Order. So I'm going to be finishing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order next week. It'll be done. Ideally, that'll be Monday. If I do finish Monday, and I'm capable of streaming Wednesday, if schedule doesn't get in the way, then I'll still be coming back here on Wednesday. Excuse me. But if something gets in the way, I'm not able to stream Monday, then I'm going to be finishing Fallen Order on Wednesday. If I finish Fallen Order on Monday, and for some reason something comes up and I can't stream on Wednesday, then I won't stream on Wednesday. But moving on from here, moving forward, I'm going to be just using whichever Monday or Wednesday happens to work best for me in any given week, and I'll be cutting back to once a week after next week. So next week, the plan is still Monday, finishing Fallen Order, Wednesday, continuing Hogwarts Legacy. After that, we're just going to be playing Hogwarts Legacy for a while. Maybe until I finish it, maybe until I finish the semester, I don't know. And then I'll pick something else up too. Partially because I don't have, part of the reason for this is because I'm busy, but also I don't have the sequel to Fallen Order yet. I don't have Jedi Survivor, and I'm also not convinced that my computer will run it. Because I tried to play Starfield and the game won't open. So, until I get a serious computer upgrade, and that means serious money, that might be out of the cards. We'll see. We'll see. I'll give it a try. I'm willing to try it with you guys, but no promises. So anyway, it's about all the time I have. So thanks for joining me. Sorry about the technical problems. I'm trying to fix these sorts of things as they come, but you know how it is. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week. There is a significant, fairly large video coming out. Couple weeks still, so don't get too excited. Not coming out next week, it's probably coming out the following week, should be. But that is coming out soon, so look forward to it. I should also soon have some more class lectures coming out, just gradually as I record them. One being the one on propositions and opinions, the second half of the arguments lecture, and then whatever else I wind up needing to record in class. I'm probably going to be recording a few class discussions, those sorts of things. So those will gradually be trickling out throughout the semester. So that's all I got for tonight. So thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week. And remember, don't be safe. Be well, and more importantly, be good. Good night.